This week's Nifty Gifties on F5 Live Refreshing Technology is proudly powered by the Microsoft Store. Whether you're looking for a new laptop, tablet, Xbox, games, or a whole lot more, you can get them at the Microsoft Store. Remember, current students, faculty, parents, and active military can save up to 10% off almost everything. To browse the products and learn more about the discounts, you can go to f5live.tv/Microsoft. So, in the time that we've been off, AI has not slowed down. In fact, it has sped up, and it's starting to show up in more and more aspects of our life. If you've watched the show for probably any period of time over the last couple of years, you know that Avram and I have some skepticism over large parts of AI, particularly because of the way it is oftentimes trained, things like that. We'll also talk a little later in the show about the data and the results that come back from it. But for right now, one of the places where AI, and in particular generative AI, is going to start showing up in your life is in your assistants. Depending on what platform or platforms you use, you might have access to one of several. You might have an Echo Show and have the Blue Lady. You might have an Apple product and have the round one. Or you might have a Google device and have their assistant on your phone, tablet, smart speaker, thermostat. These things are kind of all around. There were others in the past, but those have kind of settled in as the big three. And in the time that we have been off air, all three of them have announced large upgrades coming. The first being with our Blue Lady friend from Amazon. We're going to try not to say their names unless we screw up, so as to try to avoid triggering your speakers, your phones, your thermostats, things like that. Madam A, as as I like to say, or my brother says, the Blue Lady, she's getting a big Plus upgrade coming soon, here in the next couple of weeks, powered instead of by the old style standard AI, a new generative AI backend. This has come to us care of Panos, who left Microsoft and joined Amazon about a year and a half ago to head up their devices and services division. We talked about that on the show. This new version of the system is supposed to add all kinds of new, like, more personalized capabilities. It's supposed to be able to answer questions more directly. You're unlikely to hear, thanks to an answers contributor, you're unlikely to hear so much of that anymore. You're also going to have agents built into it. So we talked a while back that they had discontinued some of the developer programs. It looks like they were winding those down in preparation for the switch from the standard apps maybe over to the agent API models. I think they're calling those experts. You've also got local recommendations, which she wasn't great at before. But then also things like not just showing a recipe, but being able to help you adjust a recipe kind of on the fly. Oh, I don't have canola oil. What can I use? Oh, you can use butter. You can use olive oil or whatever. Those kinds of things are kind of cool. Like I said, we're expecting to see that roll out to some people starting this month, particularly if you have an Echo Show. And I believe any of them, the 8, the 10, the 15, I think even the new 21s are going to get it first, and then it'll start rolling out, and there'll be a Blue Lady Plus dedicated app that will come out. If you have Amazon Prime, it's going to be included. If you don't have Prime, there's going to be, and hear me out on this, if you don't have Prime, there's going to be a standalone subscription just for the Plus service on your assistant that doesn't make any sense. They're saying it's going to be $19.99 a month, which comes out to $240 a year, but Prime is $140 a year. So, my recommendation would be f5live.tv/Prime. Uh, go go there and sign up for Prime instead of paying more for less. Which I don't know. Does that math work for you, Avram?
No, it doesn't. It
Yeah.
seems kind of punitive. Like you'd have to be like, well, why would you want this if you don't like Prime? You hate Prime so much that you're willing to pay more not to have it.
Yeah.
It it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
I I think, is it possible that at some point
That
either
there'll
they're
be
going
tiers.
to, yeah. I
It's
mean, it
possible.
seems like, I mean, everything that we hear about this AI stuff is that it uses a lot of processing power, it uses a lot of electricity, it
Yeah.
uses it costs more money to run than regular compute. So, you know, what companies like OpenAI have done is try to pass is they've had a free tier, but they're really trying to get to pass some of these costs along to the user by having pro tiers.
Right.
And almost every service does this, right? Like Google has a pro tier for its AI.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Bing has one for like for
Copilot.
Copilot, right? Um, so it would be surprising to me if it's just another add-on to Prime for long,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Or
and that they
or maybe there'll
would want
be
to charge you.
tiers. Maybe there'll be tiers to what's available. If you're a Prime subscriber, you get 50%, and if you're a Prime Plus subscriber or whatever, you'll get. Or maybe it's like Prime Video channels, right? You can add on Max and you can
Right?
add on whatever to your Amazon account, and so with that, you know, maybe that's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously, Amazon could afford to just eat the money, but um, they're probably trying to make it profitable.
Yeah. So the thing with Madam A is that she has been unprofitable because they thought that the service was going to be used differently than people ended up using it. Um, they thought people were going to be, more casually buying stuff on the fly and just shouting at their speaker to buy pencils or whatever stupid thing they had in their head. Um, which clearly, when you're talking about a dot, was never going to happen. That was a stupid idea. Um, with the shows, maybe, but I don't know about you, but I don't want to just shout into a speaker and hope the right thing shows up. I want to be able to see it, confirm that it's the right thing before anything happens.
Right, right. Yeah, exactly. So I don't feel comfortable spending money that way.
Yeah,
Uh, I think, and I think a lot of people probably don't feel comfortable spending money that way. It's one thing to do stuff that's free and to ask a question, get an answer, or have it
right,
turn on this a song for you. But how many times do you ask it and you get the wrong song, right?
right.
Oh, well, you just ask it again. But like uh, after a while, but you're not going to want to do that when your money is involved. So,
Right. And
so
if you go and do a search on one of the shows, right? It's got a screen, you can ask it, or you're using the mobile app and you can ask it, and it shows you the thing and you say yes. Okay, that's a different workflow than just shouting at a little glowing orb and hoping.
right.
Because if I have to then
Yep.
go to the If I then have to go to the Amazon app and verify that the thing it just placed an order for is the thing that I wanted, then why didn't I just do it in the app in the first place?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um, I am hoping that song stuff is going to get better with this. The example I used in the article is one of my favorites. I can never remember. I love the song that played. I think originally, I don't think it's this anymore in streaming, but the original song from the first episode of Heroes, I can never remember what it's called. I know now, right this second, that it's called Eyes, because I looked it up. Uh, but it would be great if I can just shout that at the speaker, and it's able to know what it is I'm talking about, and then go play the song, based on just the information that's in my head. Stuff like that might make it a more enjoyable and certainly more streamlined uh, experience. But I can't imagine what is going to be in this that could possibly justify $20 a month. Because I can't imagine it's gonna fix my car or anything. Like I I can't imagine what $20 a month would look like on this, but obviously we'll be trying it out when it comes out. We're supposed to be on the early launch. We'll see what happens. We have an Echo Show 15 here in the building, so we'll certainly see. But Madam A is not the only one. Google has announced that Assistant is dead, and will be usurped by Gemini. It has already begun that process. Newer phones that have come out almost exclusively with Gemini, and almost no access to Assistant at all. Over the next couple of months, we will see it show up on phones, smart speakers, and smart screens. Basically, the entire Nest lineup, and even Google and Android TVs. We'll see the Google Assistant retired and replaced with Gemini. One of the things that's going to come with is Gemini will now have access to your search history to be able to improve personalization of results. I'm almost never a fan of any AI model having access to my anything. So I had a visceral reaction to that revelation. I know not everybody will, but there's certainly been a lot of chatter online this week about that. But I also don't use a whole lot of Google products, so what do you think?
Yeah, I don't like it having access to my search history. Not at all.
I figured.
Not at all. I mean, I, I just like I don't know what it is that you're like hoping to get out of it having access to your search history. Is it like, oh, you asked about this before, so I know what you saw before when on Google. Mm,
Yeah. I know yesterday you were searching for whatever and you clicked on a link on Tom's Hardware. Uh, no. No.
But why am I asking if I already found the answer, right? Or are they
Correct.
just assuming that I'm trying to get my answer again, right?
Yeah.
That's not. I don't know. I don't like it. Don't like it
Yeah.
at all.
I don't like you said, I don't just like the $20 a month, I don't know what would be provided as the benefit of it. I can't wrap my head
Oh,
around where the benefit comes from.
and here's another thing to consider. Think about this. For most people, if you have, a speaker in your house, that is being accessed by all the members of the family.
Mm-hmm. True.
So now everybody is getting in on your search history,
True.
or
True.
getting the benefit or whatever non-benefit of your search history,
Right.
right?
Right.
Because there's
Interesting.
children in the house, there's whatever. So um, yeah, I don't like it. I mean, I like to hear some examples of how they think this is going to help you, but um, what are they going to say? Like, you asked that hero's question already yesterday. Don't you know the answer already? Why do you keep asking me?
Learn something, dummy. Retain
Yeah.
information. I do.
One
Oh.
one of the good one of the good things about computers is that they should act with infinite patience. Um, so uh,
Unlike the thing this week, the programming AI that told the developer that it wasn't going to help and he should learn how to do it himself.
that's good.
One of
I
my
like
favorite
that.
stories this week. And that's one of the little stories they came across on the bottom bar of the TV. Uh, but yeah, I I just can't wrap my head around where search history is going to be a benefit, but I can wrap my head around where it having access to search history is going to be a problem. I smell Google Wave issues all over again with joint data access and stuff like that. Mm, mm-mm. Definitely, definitely poses a problem. Um, we don't have an exact timeline on this. We do know that they're hoping before the end of the year to have all compatible devices um, phased out. Um, Devices that are not compatible with the upgrade will not receive it and will continue to be able to access Assistant um, currently indefinitely, but we know how the Google Graveyard works. That could be Thursday. So for right now, we don't know if you're on an older device that won't be getting the upgrade. We don't know how long Assistant will last, but do assume that at some point it will phase out. And our last assistant getting an upgrade is from Apple, the the Circle lady. Siri is supposed to have already received an AI, generative AI powered upgrade. It's supposed to um, improve personalized responses and become more conversational. It's going to be session based instead of as soon as you ask a question, she immediately forgets what you were talking about. You'll be able to accomplish tasks across apps. And though without all of the negative backlash that Recall received, it's supposed to have on-screen awareness, which I don't know why people aren't worried about that on Apple devices, but were on Microsoft devices. But either way, um, I'm not a fan of that feature. But the upgrade's been delayed. It was supposed to have already released. Theoretically, it was supposed to come with Apple Intelligence, which itself was delayed in launch. It did not launch on the new devices the day it came out like it was supposed to. We have seen the Apple Intelligence software launch to iPhones and MacBooks in at least a two-phase rollout so far, because I've seen it show up on devices in two different phases. But this isn't out yet. It's supposed to have been out like now, and it has been delayed until at least May. Um, I think Apple misjudged the complexity of rewriting the entire back end of Siri, which was something they bought. That's my
Yep.
thoughts. Because they didn't build
Yep.
Siri, they bought Siri. They put a new voice model on top of it, but they didn't build that. They bought it. And I think they misjudged what it was going to take to rewrite the back end.
So here's my question with the on-screen:
Mm-hmm.
Is it does it keep a record, or does it only work with things that are on the screen at the moment?
It's a fair question. It's supposed to be able to do things like recognize dates, phone numbers, things like that, take actions based on the details. But it's definitely supposed to be able to scan and process the text of, say, emails and other possibly personal things on the screen. It's almost certainly not doing that on the device. Absolutely not if it's one of the older devices. If you're talking an iPhone 13, uh, that didn't. I don't think that had a neural processing unit on it at all. So that's being offloaded somewhere. So if that upgrade's coming to the 13, that data is going to be
Well, I
offloaded.
mean, I don't even know if this counts as AI, but like if I saw a phone number on my screen
Mm-hmm.
and I gave it a voice command to call that number or whatever, like call the
Mm-hmm.
number that's on my screen, I don't think that would be a horrible
No,
violation of my privacy.
no,
And it's not what recall is doing
yeah,
is keeping a screenshot of every and very clumsily so too, because it you can ask it some basic questions, but it's not really very
yeah,
advanced, right? But it keeps a timeline of everything that you have done.
yeah.
So if someone gets access to your computer, they can go and look at they
Time
can just
travel.
scroll the whole timeline, right?
Yeah,
They don't even need to know what question to ask. They don't
yeah,
even need to be like, oh, has what's my bank account number,
yeah.
right?
True
It
enough.
You just keep scrolling until you see the bank account, which, by the way, they're supposed to hide things like bank account numbers, but I did a test a few months ago where it turned out this only happens some of the time.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's like
so
it's like Google Maps blurring people's faces, but sometimes they'll
uh,
leave the person's face and blur the dog's tail or something. Like,
right, well, they don't know. It's hard to tell, particularly if you're not on like a traditional bank site or whatever. Like, what if you were writing an email and you're like, hey, my credit card number is this. It
which by the
doesn't
way,
look at it and be
you should
like,
you shouldn't
you
do that,
shouldn't
guys.
do. Right. Right, so I mean, like, in theory you shouldn't do it anyway. But uh
But we
I
know
don't know.
people
Or
do it.
like if you were like writing it down in a doc,
Right.
right, in a document, on writing down a credit card number in a document or a
Or
spreadsheet, or
filling out a tax document that has your social.
yes, right, exactly, right. It doesn't. I tried a bunch of these things, and so yes, if you uh you know try to log into like a well-known bank website, I think it might be wise to that,
Right.
but other
A
stuff
credit
not.
union, maybe not.
So so anyway,
It'll
to
be
make a
interesting to
long
see.
story short,
So I guess the active
yeah,
question is: will you be able to ask Siri for phone numbers or dates that it has seen before, or is it a just in time kind of a scanning now, and as soon as you close it, it's forgotten?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, that's really the question, right?
yeah,
Are where's the data being stored? Who's doing it? Who has access to it? Is it
right,
easy to get it? Stuff like that.
yeah.
So
Well, there's certainly been a lot of chatter online about this one this week as well. Users are getting understandably frustrated, people who were looking forward to this. Some people bought the new iPhones for the upgraded intelligence features, and it's rolled out in 2 phases so far, and the Apple Intelligence based Siri has still not rolled out. So there are certainly people who are frustrated and waiting. There are some people who aren't particularly interested in adding it to their device in the first place. So the delays for me are fine. But it's definitely, it's the first time in a while that we've seen this level of scramble, I think. The idea that the scramble is so big that Apple kind of violated one of their standard behaviors, which is to not show something, save for the original iPhone, which that presentation was an incredible series of smoke and mirrors. Apple tends to wait until things are done to show them off, or not show them off at all. Because they want, until it's like in internal testing, before they talk about it, because they don't want this situation to happen. They don't want to announce it and then not be able to launch it when they're supposed to. So there's this big scramble in the industry around AI. I think it is leaps and bounds above what the bizarre scramble around blockchain was. We've got to get it. We've got to have AI in the thing. Why? Don't worry about that. There was certainly a lot of that with blockchain, but I think this is orders of magnitude bigger than that scramble, that it's even tripped up Apple at this point.
Yep.
We will be keeping an eye on all of this. As soon as Apple is the new Apple Intelligence-based Siri is out, we'll have access to that. We'll do the same thing with Madam A, and we've seen Gemini in action. There's not a whole lot that we can that we can talk about there, other than as it rolls out and replaces Assistant. But AI is coming for you. Doesn't matter where you are. Microsoft announced an Xbox branded version of Copilot to be your gaming sidekick or some such nonsense. So far it's been totally panned. It seems like everybody agrees it's worthless. But anyway, doesn't matter who you are, where you are, it is absolutely coming for you. So keep your eyes out, and so will we. Hello, YouTube. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of F5 Live Refreshing Technology. If you did, please subscribe to the channel down below, and of course hit the notification bell, because we know that subscriptions don't mean much on YouTube anymore. If you've got topics that you'd like us to talk about in the future, please comment them down below. And if you'd like to not follow us on YouTube, there's lots of ways that you can follow along with our content by going to PLUGHITZlive.com/subscribe. There you'll see all of our shows and all of the ways that you can watch, listen, and follow along.